Hello there. It is a rainy afternoon here in Seoul. I'm in a park on top of a hill, either in central Seoul or on the outskirts of central Seoul, depending on how you define central. I'm not going to tell you exactly which park I'm in. I'm going to leave that for you to find out in my first guided walk video, which I'm in the process of editing right now. This park features in that video, and I'll tell you all about it and some of the sights here in the park, including this pavilion where I'm standing. I get a lot of questions, not just about Korea and life in Korea, but also about the YouTube channel, about the gear I use, how I make my videos. So I've been thinking for a while about putting together a video and using that as the answer for future questions. That way I don't have to type out the full answer every time, just give them the link and send them to the video. So this seems like a perfect time to do that. So today I'm going to show you all the gear that I use, when and why I use it, and I'll also show you a little bit about the software I use to get the videos ready to upload. When I started this channel, I had very little experience with recording videos for public consumption and with editing. I ran a YouTube channel for my job, but I didn't do any shooting for that channel. The only thing we were using it for originally was just to upload conference videos. And we just uploaded those directly without any edits. Eventually I realized, we could cut out a lot of these uhs and ahs and long pauses and make them a little tighter. So that's where I first started learning how to use different kinds of editing software, experimenting with them, just to make those simple cuts in the videos. And when I started my first YouTube channel, which was a walking tour channel that I started in 2020, late 2020, since I suddenly had a lot of time on my hands. I didn't want to buy a new camera. It's just something I was doing just for the fun of it. Might as well try this YouTube thing. So I started shooting with my iPhone. This was very simple. It was just one continuous shot for 30, 40, 50 minutes, whatever. I would just film a walk, pointing the camera in front of me. I had it mounted on a gimbal. I didn't make any edits to the videos. I did add text for like the street names, but that's pretty much it. So in 2023, when I knew I wanted to start this channel, I had a foundation already. I wasn't starting completely from scratch. And I knew that my iPhone wasn't going to be good enough for the kinds of videos I wanted to shoot. So I started looking into different options for cameras like Sony and GoPro, and also DJI. Now it just happens that the gimbal that I used for my iPhone on the walking tour channel was a DJI gimbal. And around the time that I was looking into cameras, DJI released a new version of their action camera series. This is the DJI Osmo Action 4. And at the time it was really hyped up. I watched a lot of reviews and saw people comparing it to other cameras. And I said, you know what, this looks exactly like the camera that I want. I was sold on it from the reviews. I bought it, didn't regret it. It's proven to be a very good purchase, and it got me through my first almost 2 years of the channel. I still have no problem using this camera when I need it. Like if I were going to shoot a video outside today, a walk on a rainy day like this, I would probably use this camera instead of the one I'm recording on right now. But yeah, it's rugged, it's durable, it gets the job done. I bought what they call the adventure combo. It had the action camera, it had this stick I could put it on, it had extra batteries. If you just buy the camera, it comes with one battery, but if you buy the adventure combo, you get 3 plus this charging case. It's been really reliable and yeah, really good camera. It has built-in mics, but I don't like the quality of the built-in mics. So because it was a DJI camera, I decided to go ahead and buy the DJI mic. That's upside down, is it? Yeah, the DJI mic. So I bought the set. It comes with 2 transmitters and 1 receiver. Here's a transmitter, and it automatically turned on when I pulled it out of the case. And here's the receiver. So you see it's connected to the 2 mics already. I just opened the case and they're already connected. To use this, I had to mount it to the camera. This thing comes with a USB-C adapter, and Right now I've got this attached to it, but it slides in right here. So I could slide this in here and then mount this on the side of the camera. Unfortunately, that's not very stable. And I'm always worried about it falling out and that kind of thing. So I didn't want to do that. So what I did was I bought a cage for the camera. This is not the original cage I bought. The original cage got broken when I was on my UK trip in 2024. But yeah, this is the door, the side door where I can change the battery. It drops down. Yeah, but this is just a cage around the camera, and the cage comes with a mount right here where I can use this cold shoe, hot shoe, whatever they call it. Ah, good. And this one is a snug fit. My old case was not so snug. It was very loose, and I had to put some tape on there to hold the thing in. But yeah, so it just fits right there. And then I can run a USB-C cable from here into the port on the side. Open the door here. Right? Just plug it right in there. So I have a couple of short USB cables that I used. Now, the problem with this camera is waterproof as long as everything's sealed up. As long as the battery door is closed and the port over here is closed, you're waterproof. But once you open it to plug this audio in, you're not waterproof anymore. So on rainy days, I couldn't use this. And the other thing is these mics, this version of their mics, this was their first version. While they were good, they weren't that great. And they would frequently drop out. They would lose the connection between the transmitter and the receiver here. So they had onboard recording, so I didn't lose the audio. You know, I had a backup recording on the transmitter when I was using it. So anytime the audio dropped out in the recording on the camera, I could just pull the file from the transmitter here and line it up in my editor and replace the, missing bit. But, all of that is kind of annoying. When DJI eventually released a second version of the Mic 2, I jumped on it. I bought one. I didn't buy the whole set, though, because the great thing about the Mic 2 is you don't need this receiver. You can buy a set that has two mics and a receiver, but you don't need to, because DJI now has receivers built into their cameras. This one actually has a receiver for the Mic 2 built in, even though it came out before the Mic 2. And nobody knew about this until the Mic 2s were released. So it can connect with one Mic 2. If you buy a full set of DJI Mic 2s, you can connect to two mics at a time. So if you need more than one, you would plug it in, the receiver, and then you got that. But I only needed the one, right? So I bought a Mic 2, and I started connecting without needing to mount a receiver. Oh, I can't tell, it's such a small thing, but it's huge in the user experience. It means it's one less thing to set up when I get ready to record. All I have to do is turn on the camera, turn on the mic, and boom, I start recording. There's no plugging anything in, nothing. It's just start and go. And I did my first 3 a.m. walk using this camera. And yeah, it got the job done, but not as well as I would like. This camera is not very great in low light conditions. DJI had another camera that was much better in low light conditions called the Pocket. The Pocket 3 at the time was the latest edition, and I was really eyeing that camera. But as I was contemplating buying it, they released a new camera. And that's the one I'm filming on right here. This is the DJI Osmo 360. See, it's got two lenses, one on each side, and I can use that to shoot panoramic footage. But this was said to have better low light capabilities than this one, and I thought, okay, I get better low light plus 360, plus it's still DJI, which means I can still shoot in the same color format in both cameras. I can easily combine footage from both cameras when I need to, pretty much. It doesn't require as much work. My first experiment was a walk through Naksan Park, where I included some night footage. And I wasn't really happy with it. They have a dedicated night mode that required you to use the panoramic mode of the camera. You can switch between the dual lens panoramic mode and the single lens mode, which is just like an action camera, which is what I'm shooting in right now. And the single lens night mode they have now, I don't like the distortion it has. It's just too distorted. At least with the panoramic mode, I can control the distortion a little bit. But, it's a lot of work editing that 360 footage. I can't edit it directly in my video editing software. I have to pre-process it first to get the camera angles where I want them to be and do all this other stuff, and then export that footage into a normal, MP4 file or whatever that I can then import into my video editor and then do the edits. And the other thing is I still wasn't happy with the quality of the footage I got at night. And I experimented with different settings, using the night mode, using the normal single lens mode, just trying to adjust the exposure and the white balance and everything else. And I just could never get it to look the way I wanted it to look. The way the panoramic mode has really proven useful is when I'm not alone. When I did those videos with Bart and then later with Matt, it was really good having this panoramic mode because I don't have to worry about, are we both in the frame, is it lined up right? All I have to do is hold the camera out and I can later choose where I want to position the view. So I can frame both of us in the camera and then I can cut to something in the surroundings. That's another thing. I don't have to get additional B-roll shots, right? A-roll is of the faces and B-roll is of the environment. It's all right there. That alone is actually tempting to use panoramic mode all the time, because one of my problems is I never get enough B-roll footage. I never get enough shots of the environment or the things I'm talking about. And when I'm editing, I always feel like, gosh, I wish I had more footage of this thing, that I could insert here for a voiceover or something, right? I get so caught up talking like I am right now, I just forget to get B-roll shots. Like right now, I haven't gotten any B-roll shots. Probably not going to for this video because I don't want to spoil the guided walk I've got coming up. But yeah, the big downside about that 360 footage is just processing it. So it takes time, going through all that footage. Those videos I did with Bart and Matt were pretty much 100% panoramic. So that means going through every single clip to find the shot. Having the flexibility to do that is great, but the amount of time that is added to the editing process, it's not inconsiderable. It is considerable, yeah. By the way, when I bought this camera, I got another battery pack. It's similar to this one, but the batteries are interchangeable between this camera and this one, same design. But the difference is the batteries for this camera, they last longer, right? The first time I ever did a really long walk on this channel, it was the one I did from World Cup Stadium to Namsan, and I was using a mic 2. And these things only have about 4 hours of battery life. And the other thing is, at that time, I didn't have this camera, so I only had 3 of these. And my plan that day had been to shoot a member video and that public video at the same time. I realized very quickly that I would run out of camera battery, before I got to the end if I kept doing that. So I had to stop shooting the member video. I shot half of it that day and half of it a few days later. But then I got worried about this, and I really had to start conserving shots toward the end. And actually, the last few shots I took in that video, this battery was already dead, and I was using the onboard mics. So I realized when I was doing those long walks to Dongducheon and such, I needed a longer lasting mic. Now, DJI does have the mic 3 now, which has 10 hours of battery life compared to 4 hours of this. But I didn't want to spend, 100 some odd thousand won on a mic just for that walk. So I looked at another DJI mic called the Mic Mini. Now, the Mic 3 is actually very similar in size to the Mic Mini, but the difference is in features. The Mic 3 has onboard recording. This does not. So when I'm recording a video using this mic, if the connection is lost between the mic and the camera, the transmitter here, and the receiver in the camera, I have no way to replace it, right? But so far, that has not been a problem. This one is said to be able to get up to 11 hours of recording. So that was why I chose this. And it's much cheaper than the Mic 3. I paid like 40,000 won for it or something. Just the mic, didn't buy the charging case or the receiver, none of that, just the mic, and it connects to the camera directly. So that's it. So I do have a third camera, the DJI Pocket 3. It's the one I was considering buying for the low light footage before I bought the 360. This is it right here. I did not buy this camera. It was given to me by a friend who was leaving Korea. You know, it's compact, it's small. There is a extra battery pack you can charge on. It doesn't have removable batteries inside. It has a built-in battery, but this is an extra. This is a charger that you can plug in, so it makes the battery last longer. It's got a built-in gimbal, right? I don't generally use this in the daytime because since I bought this camera, I'm able to shoot in 5K. This camera and this camera only shoot in 4K, but I really like shooting in 5K, especially in 4:3 ratio, because it just gives me so much more room to work. I can move the image up and down to, if I want to, you know, in the editor. And also the field of view on this camera is not as wide as the field of view on this one. So I always feel like, you know, when I'm pointing at myself, it's too close. Even if I'm holding it out. So I did buy a stick, an extension rod, so I can screw it in here and I can hold it like this and extend it out, and this has proven useful. I like the weight it adds to it. You know, some people love this camera because it's so small. I actually like having this heavier feel. You know, it's got the tripod built in here, but it extends out pretty far. Anytime I think I might want to get some interesting shots using this with the built-in gimbal and this extension rod, you know, I might bring this along. But so far I haven't done that very often. But primarily I use this for night footage. The last couple of 3 a.m. walks I've published, I've used this. The Seoul video, I think, was the first one that I used it. And I've really got the settings dialed in on this one. It has a special night mode. I don't use it. I just use the standard mode. And I use settings that I experimented with and finally settled on. When my friend gave me this camera, he also gave me the second mic, right? I connect one of these mics to this camera and I connect one of them to this camera and I just leave them connected. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with the night footage on this. So this is my dedicated nighttime camera. I've shot a few member videos at night with it, in addition to the 3 a.m. walks. Today my mic is hanging on my shirt via the magnet that comes with it. I've got the magnet on the inside and this on the outside, and it just, you know, holds it there. Normally I use a medallion, a magnetic medallion. It's this little round thing. It's a very strong magnet, and I just take this and pop it on. For a while I was putting the mic inside my shirt on the medallion. Some of my videos from last year, most of my videos from last year, I was doing that. All of my videos from last year, I think. These days I usually have the medallion inside the shirt, but the mic outside of the shirt. You know, when the mic is inside my shirt, I don't have to use this dead cat or whatever they call it, the rabbit tail, the wind muff. I don't have to use that, right? Because my shirt acts as the wind muff. But also sometimes I can get some scratching sounds from the shirt as it's rubbing against the mic, especially if I'm wearing a windbreaker. I find I like it better now with the mic on the outside. Today I forgot the medallion. These are strong magnets, but I like having the medallion because I'm worried if this happens to come off, the magnet is going to fall off from inside the shirt, and I'm worried I'm going to lose the magnet. If it's connected to the medallion, the magnet's still attached to this, so if this falls off, the magnet's still there, right? So yeah, I just feel more confident with the medallion there. One thing I forgot to mention, when I was shooting with this camera, I would manually adjust the angle when I needed to. You know, I would keep this loose enough that it wouldn't move by itself, but that I could adjust it. You know, when I want to get B-roll, I'm like this. When I want to get A-roll, I'm like this. This one, the mount has a little button here that I can move, and it gives me this angle every time, right? So when I'm vlogging, when I'm talking to the camera, this is usually how I hold it. And when I'm ready for a panoramic shot, I put it like this, and I hold it out like this. And this stand, this tripod here, this is actually an Insta360, an Insta360 tripod, and it's adjustable, right? I can move this in and out. Now, like this camera, this one here is waterproof, but you can see how the lenses bulge out. And this also makes this camera more fragile. There are no lens covers on here. Now, I can buy some lens covers, but it kind of impacts the image a little bit, so I haven't done that yet. So I have to be very careful about this camera. I cannot drop this camera without its protector on. When I'm storing it, I use this. This slides down over the top and it acts as pretty good protection. But I'm always paranoid. I don't like to set this up this way usually because I'm afraid it's gonna fall over. I've had this camera fall over a few times and that's fine. I've dropped it, I've thrown it. You know, when I was in the UK shooting, I actually ended up, I didn't want to have to connect this to the stick every time, so I ended up holding it like this all the time when I was shooting. And that's why if you watch some of my videos from that UK series, you'll sometimes see my finger in the frame. This stayed in my bag the whole time. It was just so much more convenient. I would keep this camera in my pocket, literally in my pocket. And when I was ready to shoot, I would pull it out of my pocket, start shooting. I was walking in the rain all the time, right? This thing is not waterproof, this mic. All that rain, no problem for the camera. It would have killed the mic. That entire series, I had my mic with me. I only used it in the airport, Incheon Airport. Yeah, I had it on at Incheon Airport, and that's where I realized, you know what? I don't want to be pulling this out every time I want to shoot. And a few times I dropped this thing, right? I was pulling out of my pocket, I fumbled it, boom, hit the ground. Concrete. The original cage I had is supposed to protect the camera. It's extra protection for the camera, but the cage broke when I dropped it one time. And I dropped it a few times without the cage. No problem. This thing is tough. This one, if I drop it, those lenses are in big trouble. And I also have to be careful when I've got the pole extended and I'm walking around, I have to be careful that I don't scratch the lens on something. I might bump into the corner of a wall or a tree limb or something, a branch, you know. That's something I've got to watch out for. And also the way the lenses stick out like that, not very good in the rain. That's why I haven't gotten rid of this camera. It's still so useful in certain circumstances when I'm worried about dropping this. If I go hiking, the next hiking video I shoot, I'm going to use this. I'm not going to use this for a hiking video. You know, I used it on Inwangsan with Bart because I didn't know we were going to Inwangsan that day. I don't think Bart knew either. But if I'm going to go hiking at Dobongsan or Kukansan or Achasan, whatever, I'm going to use this most of the time. I'm going to take this one and have it in my backpack and pull it out when I want to get some panoramic shots. But most of the time, I'm just going to use this one. So that's it. That's my gear and how I use it. As for software, I edit my videos with something called DaVinci Resolve Studio. They have a free version called DaVinci Resolve and the paid version, DaVinci Resolve Studio. I bought a license a few months before I started this channel. The best thing is I bought the license once. I think it was version 17. Now they're on version 21 and I've gotten every upgrade for free. That's all I've got for you right now. Thanks for listening to me today. Hopefully the next video I upload after this one will be the guided walk. Fingers crossed I don't have to make another one before then. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.